Good morning to you all. Today I'll be speaking about Hamlet. I'll bring out the summary themes, literary theories, literary devices, plot of the play. I will start with Act 1, Scene 1. Late at night, the guards on the battlements of Denmark's castle are met by Horatio, Prince Hamlet's friends from school. The guards describe the ghost they have seen that resembles Hamlet's father, the dead king. At that moment, the ghost reappears, and the guards and Horatio decide to tame Hamlet. Claudius, Hamlet's uncle, marries Hamlet's recently widowed mother, becoming the new king of Denmark. Hamlet continues to mourn for his father's death and laments his mother's lack of loyalty. When Hamlet hears the ghost from Horatio, he wants to see it for himself. Attends Polonius says farewell to his son Laertes, who is departing for France. Laertes wants his sister Ophelia to stay away from Hamlet. The ghost appears to Hamlet, claiming indeed to be the ghost of his father. He tells Hamlet about how Claudius the king and Hamlet's uncle murdered him, and Hamlet swears vengeance for his father. Hamlet decides to fake madness while he tests the truth of the ghost. I'll move to Act 2. According to his plan, Hamlet begins to act strangely. He rejects Ophelia while Claudius and Polonius, the royal attendants, spy on him. They had hoped to find the reason of Hamlet's sudden change in behavior but could not. Claudius summons Guildenstern and Rosencrantz, old friends of Hamlet, to find out what got into him. Their arrival coincides with a group of traveling actors that Hamlet happens to know well. Hamlet writes a play which includes scenes that mimic the murder of Hamlet's father. During this, Hamlet and the actors plot to present Hamlet's play before the king and queen. From there, I'll move to Act 3. At the performance, Hamlet watches Claudius closely to see how he reacts. The play provokes Claudius, and he interrupts the action by storming out. He immediately resolves to send Hamlet away. Hamlet is summoned by his distressed mother, Gertrude, and on the way he happens upon Claudius kneeling and attempting to pray. Hamlet's reason not to kill King Claudius is that he will send his soul to heaven rather than hell. Hamlet decides to spare his life for the time being. Polonius hides in Gertrude's room to protect her from her unpredictable son. When Hamlet arrives to scold his mother, he hears Polonius moving behind the door. He stabs him, in so doing kills Polonius. The ghost of Hamlet's father reappears and warns his son not to delay revenge or upset his mother. I'll move to Act 4. Hamlet is sent to England, supposedly as an ambassador, just as King Fortinbras or Norway crosses Denmark with an army to attack Poland. During his journey, Hamlet discovers Claudius has a plan to have him killed once he arrives. He returns to Denmark alone, sending his companions Rosencrantz and Guildenstern to their deaths in his place. Rejected by Hamlet, Ophelia is now sad at the loss of her father. She goes mad and drowns. I'll move to Act 5. On the way back to Denmark, Hamlet meets Horatio in the graveyard where they talk of the changes of life and death. Ophelia's funeral procession arrives at the very same graveyard. Hamlet confronts Laertes, Ophelia's brother, who has taken his father's place at the court. A duel is arranged between Hamlet and Laertes. During the match, Claudius conspires with Laertes to kill Hamlet. They plan that Hamlet will die either on a poisoned sword or with poisoned wine. The plan goes when Gertrude unwillingly drinks from the poisoned cup and dies. Then both Laertes and Hamlet are wounded by the poisoned blade, and Laertes dies. Hamlet, in his death, kills Claudius. Hamlet dies, leaving only his friend Horatio to explain the truth to the new king, Fortinbras, as he returns in victory from the Polish wars. Now I'll be bringing out the themes in Hamlet. You have the theme of revenge. There are two young men bent on avenging their father's death in this play. Hamlet and Laertes are both on the same mission, and while Hamlet is pondering his approach to the problem, Laertes is hot on his heels, determined to kill him, as Hamlet has killed his father, Polonius. This is therefore a double revenge story. Shakespeare examines the practice of revenge by having two entirely different approaches to it: the hot-headed abandon of Laertes and the philosophical approach by Hamlet. You have the theme of corruption. Corruption is a major concern in this play. The text is saturated with images of corruption in several forms: death, poison. From the very first moment of the play, the images start and set the atmosphere of corruption, which is going to grow as Shakespeare exploits this theme. The tone is set when Marcellus says, "Something is rotten in the state of Denmark," after seeing the ghost of Hamlet's father. And you have the theme of politics. Hamlet is a political drama. Hamlet's uncle has murdered his father, the king. He has subsequently done Hamlet out of his right of succession and become king. Hamlet's mother has married the king while the rest of the palace. The king, Claudius, determined to safeguard his position in the face of the threat, Hamlet presents plot in several ways to kill Hamlet. Now I'll move to the literary devices. You have repetition. A repetition is found when Hamlet says, "I humbly thank you, well, words. And you have metaphor. Metaphor is a comparison between two things that does not use as or like. It's also found in the play when Hamlet says, "Whether this nobler in the mind to suffer the spleen and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles and by opposing end them." In this quote, Hamlet compares his troubles to a sea. This tells us that Hamlet sees his troubles as vast, large, and seemingly endless, much like a sea. And in this way, you have simile as well. Hamlet is not the only person that uses simile. Claudius does as well. Claudius says, "His beard was as white as snow." In this quote, Claudius is talking to himself about Hamlet's father, who he murdered. He compares the beard of Hamlet's father to snow because of its white color. Even Gertrude uses simile. Now I'll move to the literary theories. You have new historicism. As the plot unfolds, Hamlet appears to be crazed as his paraphernalia and suspicions overcome him. Claudius sends Hamlet, then escapes and returns back to Denmark, where he fights with his now killed lover's brother Laertes. As Hamlet is dying due to a wound from Laertes' sword, he forces Claudius to drink poison wine. As in all Shakespeare strategy, every main character is deceased by the end of the play. The role of monarchy in the play is important for new historicism. And lastly, you have plot of the play. Hamlet summary: the ghost of the king of Denmark tells his son Hamlet to avenge his murder by killing the new king, Hamlet's uncle. Hamlet feigns madness, contemplates life and death, and seeks revenge. The play ends with a duel, during which the king, queen, Hamlet's opponent, and Hamlet himself are all killed.